Brittany and welcome back to Britney Unplugged, and as you can tell by the title of this video, we're going to be talking about how to level up. So today I'm here with a very special guest. I'm here with my big sister, Tatenda, and we're going to be talking about how to level up with you guys today, and I'm really happy that she's here to talk about this specific topic with me because I feel like she's very wise and our wisdom put together will cause magic. So, say hi to the people.
Hello.
So when we look at leveling up, it can be defined in so many ways, but I think my sister really defines it in the best way possible because as we are looking into how to level up and trying to define what leveling up is, we realize there are so many definitions, but I think my sister's definition really puts it all in a nutshell.
So basically, I think leveling up can be defined as the process of tapping into your potential in order to become the best version of yourself that is possible. It means looking at your weaknesses, it means looking at your strengths and looking at the ways in which that you can make yourself a better person, whether it's better dressed, better academically, better in your relationships, better in the overall quality of your life. Leveling up basically means you're taking yourself from here to here in the best way. So using yourself and using your skills and what it is that you have to be the best version of that. I think a lot of people have this idea that leveling up means that you have to become someone else or become like somebody else, or you have to look at, very good mentors or role models and, make them the ideal or make them the goal. But really what I've learned is that leveling up, while it's important to be inspired by other people and to draw inspiration from, outside sources, I think ultimately speaking, leveling up just means that you are looking at yourself and seeing how you can be the best version of what it is that you see. So as opposed to then trying to change completely and trying to be something else or be someone else, you remain the same, but better.
And one thing that I can really, just to add on to her point, if you were in a dark place in your life, if you feel like there was a point in your life where you were at your lowest and you brought yourself out of that dark place, you worked so hard to become the best version of yourself, like what she said, then that can be defined as leveling up. Leveling up does not mean that you have the best looking makeup. It doesn't mean that you have the best clothes. Of course, that is part of the process. But the moment it starts in here, the moment you choose to deal with yourself internally and you become the best version of what you would say, like there's the best version of yourself, then that can be defined as leveling up.
The first way that I think is the best way to level up is the act of being deliberate. Now, when I talk about deliberateness, what I mean is after you set out your goals, after you set out your plan, after you set out this idea or your mood board or however way in which you want to level up, after that, you need to then start acting on it, of course, otherwise it won't really come to fruition. However, what a lot of people don't understand is when it comes to acting out your goals and trying to achieve this level up dream that you set up for yourself, people don't realize that you have to be very deliberate in everything that you do. There's this misconception that there's going to be a light switch in your head and suddenly you're just going to have a burst of motivation and a burst of energy and everything is going to be very easy and, it's just going to come naturally, and in a few months you would have lost that weight, or you would have, gotten that job or gotten that car, or you would have leveled up in whatever way. But honestly, that's not how it works. The road to success is not an easy one, and 1,000 miles start with one step. But that's the thing, you have to actually take that step. You have to actually be deliberate about the things that you're doing. There's going to be a lot of moments where you don't want to get up to go to the gym. There's going to be a lot of moments where you don't want to make the effort to go to the library and study. There's going to be a lot of times where you don't want to put in the extra bit of work that is necessary in order for you to reach your goal, in order for you to fulfill the purpose that you set out for yourself. But that's where deliberateness comes in. Whether you're in the mood for it or not, whether you feel like doing it or not, you still have to do it. Even on the days where you think, I really just don't want to go to the gym today, you need to push yourself to even go for half an hour, 45 minutes. It won't
kill you.
Exactly. It won't kill you. If you have the goal to walk 5 kilometers, you're not going to walk 5 kilometers until you take that step. You have to just take the one step and then the other step and the other step. And there are days where it's just not going to be very easy, days where you don't want to get out of bed, days where you just simply don't want to do anything. And don't get me wrong, that's not to say that you should never give yourself necessary relaxation time, nor am I saying that, for example, if you're working out, you should never have a rest day, because relaxing is just as important as actually working. But in the moments when the lazy side of you, or the side of you that just doesn't want to get any work done, is trying to, overcome, or should I say overwhelm the side of you that wants to do better, that's when it's important for you to be deliberate. Let's say, for example, one of your goals is to lose 5 kilograms in 2 months, for example. And you know that one of the ways that you're going to do that is to be one of the first people at the gym so you can have access to the treadmill before everybody else. The alarm rings, it's cold outside, and you don't want to go. But there's no other reason stopping you apart from the fact that you just don't want to get out of bed. That's not a good enough reason for you to stay in bed. That's when deliberateness comes in. You have to push that blanket off yourself, turn that alarm off, go into the bathroom, brush your teeth, take your bike, take your car, walk to the gym, do what you have to do to make sure that you get there, even if it hurts to do so.
And another thing is, if you aspire to level up, you need to make sure that you don't have a desire without substance. If you want to level up and then you set goals for yourself, let's say you say, I want to love myself more. Let's say you say, oh, I want to be able to make new friends. I want to be able to build connections for myself. But then you're doing the exact opposite of what you should do in order to reach that stage. Then it becomes a desire without substance, because you're dreaming of something to happen, but you're not actually putting in the work for the dream to actually happen.
Exactly.
Instead of saying you want the dream to happen, make it happen.
Exactly.
Do the steps necessary for you to actually fulfill your heart's desire. Because it's one thing to want something, and I think there's a really huge difference between wanting and desiring something. Normally when you really desire something, then you will do everything in your power to reach where you want to be. Now the second way to level up is you need to be able to level up in the right direction. For example, let's say you want to deal with holding grudges against people, for example, and then you already know that you are specialized and you're very good in the area of, having a particular skill that really makes you a better person. You need to be able to pinpoint the things about yourself that need help, and you need to level up in the direction where you need help. Find ways, instead of course, you can develop your skills, but in the moment you say you want to fix something about yourself and you isolate it completely, then that's not going to better you. It's going to better the part that you are good at, that is going to better you. But the other part that you decided to throw away, that is preventing you from being the best version of yourself, because part of leveling up is being able to deal with all of yourself and loving all of yourself, for it to show on the outside that you do love all of yourself. People will be able to see a difference in you. And people say, oh my gosh, you look better these days. Oh my gosh, you've changed, of course in a good way.
Yeah.
Then it's clear that you're working on yourself. Let's say if you can sing, right? And then there's a part of yourself internally that you're trying to deal with. The most you can do is better your skill of singing, because you can do it anyways. The most you're doing is just mastering the skill of singing. But if you have an issue with holding grudges against people, let's say you want to work on your anger issues, but then you still have anger issues, but you put that to the side. Not only are you letting that flaw of yours pile up and pile up, of course everyone has flaws, but then there are some flaws that will really, really affect you. The moment you see that your flaw is affecting you, then just know that that is the one thing that is preventing you from being the best version of yourself possible. Hence, you cannot level up that way.
So the third point when it comes to leveling up is a point that I think a lot of people don't consider when it comes to the level up journey. I think while it's very important to focus on yourself and to focus on the goals that you have, it's also very important to understand your standards. And your standards basically are the expectations that you have for yourself, for your life, and for the people around you. It's basically the minimum mode of operatus, MO, if I'm going to use that word, that you will operate by. And standards are firstly relative per person. Not everyone has the same standards. What's okay for some is definitely not okay for the other, and vice versa. But when it comes to standards, I think it's important to assert them with other people and also with yourself. Now, I know a lot of people might be shy to stand up for themselves or shy to assert their standards with their partner, with a friend, with a parent, or something like that. I believe that it's actually much harder to set standards with ourselves, because everywhere you go, there you are. You are the person you spend the most time with. You can always find a way to get away from your sister. You can find a way to get away from your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your parents, your teacher, your whatever. But regardless of where you go, you will always be there, even when you die. So you're not going anywhere when it comes to yourself. And when I say asserting your standards to yourself, let's say, for example, you know that in order for you to reach that weight loss goal or that fitness or health goal, you need to eat very healthy for the next few weeks. Well, you should be aiming to eat healthy every day, but you need to be very strict with yourself for the first few weeks. If you then keep sneaking in that chocolate bar or drinking those fizzy drinks, or you're not actually sticking to your meal plan, you're deviating from your standard. And you need to be able to hold yourself accountable and say, no, actually, I have to stick to my goal. I have to stick to my standards. This is below the standard that I have to operate by in order for me to achieve my goal. In the same way, for example, you go on a date with someone and they're trying to push you to do things that you don't want to do, or you're dealing with someone who isn't really respecting your boundaries and your standards. You tell them, no, this is not how you act, or no, I don't accept this, or no, I don't like this. You should be able to have that conversation with yourself. And it's not easy, because with the world already judging you, with your parents and your friends and your partner and your teachers already having all these expectations of you, I understand the temptation that sometimes it's easy to come into our own comfort zone, our own comfort shell, and not be as hard on ourselves as other people are. And of course, obviously, as a way of self-soothing, it's very important to not be too harsh or mean with yourself. But that doesn't mean that you can't hold yourself accountable, and that doesn't mean that you can't give yourself that honest talk that you need. And sometimes it's important to be able to say, you know what, the way you are operating, the way I'm operating right now, is not conducive to the results that I want to have in the coming few weeks, few months, or maybe even the few years. And so you have to be able to assert your standards and your boundaries, not only with other people, but with yourself.
And another thing is that just because your standards may not be acceptable by other people doesn't mean that they should be disregarded as standards at all. Your standards are different to somebody else's standards. Like what Jatenda was saying, it's relative. The way you set standards is according to how it will suit you. It's according to what you're comfortable with. So what you're comfortable with, someone else may be uncomfortable with. What you're uncomfortable with, someone else may be comfortable with. So when you set standards for yourself, if someone else finds something wrong in the standards that you have set for yourself, don't let that taint the way you make your standards for yourself, because that is how it will suit you. Your standards are according to what is right for you. So don't let anybody come in and tell you what you can and cannot stand for, because ultimately they are not you. And the last thing you need to know about leveling up is that Rome was not built in a day. So let me explain. If you have an area of yourself that you're trying to fix, let's say you want to love yourself more. Let's say you want to enhance your skills more. Let's say you want to work on your self-confidence. Yes, you can have a huge goal. You can have a huge dream. But then just know that that huge vision, that huge dream that you have, it starts with small steps. Yes, you can look to the future, but then a lot of the times when we set super gigantic dreams for ourselves, then we end up feeling like they're unachievable, or then we end up getting lazy, or then we procrastinate and stuff like that. It takes small steps to achieve what you actually want to achieve. So yes, have huge goals, have dreams, have heart's desires. That is so important. Those are the things that should motivate you and drive you to succeed in life. But then the moment you only look to that huge thing and you kind of factor out all of the things that require you to get to that place, then you end up losing motivation. So you need to make sure that, okay, you set a goal for yourself, you set a huge goal for yourself. Then you say, okay, what is the first step for me to get to the goal that I want to reach? So if you realize, okay, maybe it's a little bit too big for me to reach now, then go a little bit lower and take baby steps to when you reach that point. So that when you reach the point, like your target point, then you can reach for your final goal. So make sure that you remember that it takes time. Don't be impatient. Don't set a target for leveling up, because it's something that happens over time, and you will begin to feel it within you. You'll begin to feel that you're reforming and you're becoming more refined as a person, and it will show with time. Don't put a time frame on leveling up.
Yeah, exactly. I think what a lot of people lose sight of is the fact that leveling up requires a lot of patience. I know, for example, I was reading a recent statistic. I don't remember exactly what the number was, that there's an increasing number of guys who are getting muscle implants. So they're getting bicep implants, pec implants, and you see, for example, the girls that are getting the butt implants, when really all of those things, like the growing butt, the big muscles, that's something that comes from eating a lot of protein, bulking, and going to the gym. Yes, it's going to take a very long time, and yes, some people might not necessarily have the full size that they want, but it is possible to make your butt bigger naturally. It is possible to gain those muscles naturally. And the reason why I give those examples is because they're the most obvious examples, especially they're very relevant to the modern day society where so many people are getting surgeries and doing all of these things to their bodies. You have to remember, things don't happen overnight. They don't even happen in a week. A lot of those things happen after months of deliberate work, months of, what's it called, patience, and, not standing in the way of yourself in terms of being lazy and procrastination. These are things that will eventually come to you if you work on them. You need to understand that it takes a lot of patience, and you also have to leave room for error. It's kind of like anyone who's been on a fitness journey will testify to this. The first week or so probably hurts.
Hard.
Yeah, the first week or so probably hurts. It's very, how do I say it? It's incredibly difficult. Your muscles are sore, your body is sore. The second, third week, you're getting better. And then you have a few weeks of being like on top of your game and being very, very like, being very energetic.
You think you're that girl or that guy. Like you think you're everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you hit a plateau.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of people then stop. So if you watch a lot of weight loss journeys, for example, a lot of people usually give up after about 4 or 5, maybe 6 weeks because they hit a plateau.
Mm-hmm.
And it's normal to hit a plateau. It's normal to have days where you really just can't do anything, or you really don't feel like doing anything. And that's also okay. You need to give yourself the room to have those days where you just don't feel like it. I know I said you have to be deliberate, but let's be real, we're not perfect, we're human beings. There's no such thing as 100%.
And it's okay to take a break. It's okay to take a break.
Yeah.
Like really, if you just need a mental health break, it's okay.
Yeah.
Do that because it's part of the process.
Yeah, basically. So it's important to just be patient with yourself, and it's important to allow yourself the room for human error as well.
So always remember that when it comes to leveling up, it's a process, but make sure that you're taking the active steps necessary to reach your end result, because ultimately you're supposed to feel 10 times better about you and nobody else. And you are supposed to be the most unique version of yourself, the best version of yourself. You need to fall in love with yourself and date yourself too. Figure out who you are, what you like, what your interests are, and everything like that. So I really hope this video helped you, and I really hope all of these steps helped you. And please take these into your strides if you really want to level up the right way. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and hit the bell to be notified when I post new videos. Stay safe, everyone. God bless you all. Bye.
And wear a face mask.